Everybody, welcome back to Building Color Coded in Godot. My name is Mike, and with me, as always, in spirit, is Harrison. With us together, we are designing a mobile game, and we're building that in Godot. So we're both learning a lot of things along the way. We're doing things a little bit messy in Godot at first, but then now we're going through as we learn more and cleaning things up. I am doing a lot of the UI and graphic design portions of the game. Harrison, he's the developer, so he's doing all the fun codey bits and making sure that the game actually functions. And so together we're both, concepting up ideas, figuring out what to do, and just designing this game together. Fun little experience so far, but I thought, why not journal a lot of what we're doing? So that's what I'm doing today, episode 3. So let's hop into it and see what this week brought as far as changes go to our game. Let's head over to Godot. Let's go to Godot. Let's go. All right, here we are. So this is our main menu page, and you've probably seen in our past videos. I don't need to explain to you in detail what all these pages are. If you want to see more of a deep dive into what each page is and what they do, I think the last video should have a full overview of all those pages. So I'm going to skip a lot of the details about what these pages are in these videos as we go forward. And we're just going to get to the nitty gritty. What you see here up at the top, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. This section up here is brand new. This is the player card that we added in here. So we have the avatar for the player. We also have their badge here. This is going to indicate their rank. Right now we're just going to be doing a global rank. So that's where the rank would be. Their name, their title, how many codes they've cracked, and then the progress to unlock their next keypad. So we really needed something like this right now because a lot of our testers were not knowing when or even how they were progressing towards unlocking that keypad. Down here we have a red badge with a number in it, and that is going to indicate how many times you've been hacked. So you'll be able to see like a little alert on here to how many times you've been hacked, and you'll know at quick glance when looking at this menu a lot of information. And that's great just so you know where you are while you're playing the game, and you don't have to dive into menus to see where your rank is and go to another menu to see how many times you've been hacked and all that stuff. There is a part in here we also added onto the social page to show a history of when you've been hacked and when people have attempted to hack you but unsuccessful, and then also to show the full global ranking of all the players on there. So let's go take a quick look at that right now. So here's our social page. Here's our social. Here's our social page. No, I think about it more, I'm not gonna be able to say it. Here's the page where people virtually get together. So we have our event page here, and you can see we have the player avatar, the name, and then below that we have what they did. So this person cracked your code, and then it's going to have an icon that indicates that you've been hacked, and then I'll have a time down there. So we're going to do from minutes, then to change it to an hour, and then once that reaches 24 hours, we're going to change it to days, and it'll just count days after that. We'll probably have those taper off maybe somewhere after a week or so, something like that, so you don't just have a massive list, but they'll keep rolling. Or there'll be like a specific number, so we might do like, hey, once this page reaches 25 listings, then we're going to just start dropping them off. At a certain point, you're not going to need to scroll down so far, but it's going to be kind of fun to see at a quick glance all the activity that's been happening. So the other one on here is people that have attempted to crack your code and been unsuccessful. So we have the little badge with the check mark in it, and then again the timestamp underneath that. These slices that are on here are actually individual scenes, and like I explained in the last video why we do that, so we can make the scene once and just duplicate it multiple times, and we don't have to worry about repeating work. I have a couple different things to toggle on and off. So if I toggle this one off over here on the left where it says event cracked, I turn that one off. So you toggle that one, that's the subtext that's here. Toggle the other one on, it says attempt to crack your code. So depending on what scenario it is, oh, no. There we go. Depending on what scenario is, Harrison will make sure that those are toggled on and off correctly. And then the other toggle that I have here is for the icon on the far right. So right now it's for if somebody cracked you. If I toggle that off, toggle the other one on, it's if you defended. So again, we just have to build that once, display it here, and we can use it as many times as we want, and it populates beautifully. The other board that I want to take a look at, or another tab on here, is going to be the leaderboard. So this one here, you can see that I have a whole bunch listed out. This is just what they'll look like when they are stacked up in the game. It's going to be much longer than that because we got a lot of players in here testing. So this list is going to populate pretty far down. But much like the other one, this is its own independent scene. And in this scene here, I can toggle on and off all the badges. So we'll start with the gold one. Everything in here, on this side over here, this is all, nothing really changes when we're listing the rank. The only thing that changes here is the item on the far left. So I have a texture here, and then on top of the texture, I have the number. I might switch that up if I wanted to do more of a stylized one in there for gold, silver, and bronze. Since those are always going to be first, second, third, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. For right now, I just wanted to do this setup, and this setup works pretty well. So we have rank gold, silver, bronze, and then a default one. This one's actually going to look a little bit different. Right now, it's just gray. I did push this up to live, and Harrison asked for it to be a graphic, so I sent him a graphic instead. So this one's going to look a little bit different in the live version, and it's just going to follow the same kind of thing that these other rankings do, where that bronze medal back there is actually just a graphic, and you can see this texture up here. And they'll just swap between those depending on the ranking. That will be all listed down on this page, and that'll look pretty clean, pretty slick once that's live. And yeah, so that's probably about it for the social page. And then we have the badge notification here. This one here, very straightforward. All this is actually a inside the button node, I put a panel, named it badge, and inside the panel, I put some text. So the panel in there, I made a variation for that, and I could go over that in a different video here and talk more in depth about a variation. So variation, briefly, is making a main theme for your Godot project. Everything's in here, it's all handled in one file. So if I did, for instance, let's say, we're looking at this badge here, and this badge is red, and I have this badge appearing in multiple other places. Instead of changing it in each individual scene, all I have to do is change it here once, and it'll change it wherever this badge exists that's referencing this badge style right here. So it's super handy to have to keep everything in unison. A lot of things in here I'm trying not to use a lot of like CSS terms or HTML web terms, but what would basically be the equivalent of doing an inline style. So like, let's take a look at the player card. I think I did that in here a few times. Let's take a look at this panel. So this panel, perfect example right here. So progress bar, this guy here, I have a theme in the theme section. So instead of actually using a type variation, which I don't have, I'm using a theme. So then I have this theme in here. I come over here and I change this, and I kind of feel this is kind of the dirty way to do it, but it gets the job done. Later on, I could go into the main theme, which I just showed you a moment ago. I can make a variation in here, apply, and then have this progress bar apply to that. So no matter where there's a progress bar, and let's say I name this small progress bar, it will have that exact same style everywhere, and everything will be in unison. I just didn't set it up. I do things fairly quickly sometimes in here and just want to get them done, and then I'll take care of that later. I'll kind of go in and clean things up later. The text here, fairly straightforward. This is all actually using the variations as well. So I use the header H1, H2, H3, just because I know that from doing web stuff, the CSS and the HTML, all that. So I'm just kind of used to it. It makes sense to me. So I use it in here. Some stuff was a little tricky, like getting this badge to offset on the avatar was a little tricky. I had to play with the positioning a little bit on here. So I had to make the avatar shrink so it retains its minimum size shrink that to the top, and then shrink it to the left. So basically it pushes it to the top left, and then I resized it to 70, made it a little bit smaller. And then I have if I can pull up the badge here, I have the badge as well. I have it set to a minimum size, but I have that pushed to the right and then pushed to the bottom. And I have both of those guys in one empty panel container. And so within that container, you can see the outline here. Within that panel container, the badge is sitting on the bottom right, and the avatar is sitting on the top left, and then it gives that kind of offset look to that. So those are the main updates here. Oh, actually, there is one more. I updated some pop-ups. Let's take a look at the game screen. So we'll take a look at the game board. So we have this pop-up that would pop up on the game board. So after you complete the puzzle, boop, pops up, and it'll post like a "you won" or "you lost" message. Okay, so we have the loading screen for the game board for winning. So I just did that one, and this was our original one that's right here. And the reason we're not using this original one is I got yelled at. Okay, this is why we don't do a lot of stuff. I just get yelled at all the time. I did a lot of toggles in here, and so it made it confusing for Harrison, or confusing for the code, to come in here and figure out which one to turn on, which one to turn off. And it was just too much of a hassle to toggle things off, like turn this one on if this is happening, but make sure the other one's off. It was just a mess. What we're doing is making a unique pop-up for each, and only toggling things on that pertain to that pop-up situation. This loading one is always just going to be loading and loading information only. It's never going to have anything about winning or anything like that. This one here is going to be all about winning, or it will say "you lost," and it'll display whatever information it needs to display. So I also added in how many code cracks you are away from unlocking your button. So it gives you another little nugget of info on how close you are to unlocking your button once you finish that hack. And that's about it for this update. Like it was a fairly, I'm going to use the term very loosely, a light week of updates, or I'm just getting faster in Godot. One of the two things are happening. To recap, we got the player card. We added a badge this week. We also added the leaderboard. We did the custom leaderboard here. And then we also added the events here with the independent, whether or not you've been hacked or unsuccessfully hacked. And then we did the pop-ups update as well too. So I guess in the end, quite a few things. But yeah, thank you for tuning in for this episode. Next week, we'll probably have some more updates to show. And then I'm going to try to do maybe some brief quick tutorials on a few of these things. If you have any questions about any part of the UI that I did and how I did it, let me know in the comments below, and then I will post a video as soon as I can for that particular thing. Otherwise, I'm just going to go down a list of some tutorial ideas that I have and keep going through there. So until next time, thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.